Alright guys, so it's time to finally dig into this 486 laptop. Been looking to get into this one for a little while. And I'm just taking a quick look at it first. I don't see there's like no screws on the bottom. I mean, it may be underneath these little rubber feet, but I'm not sure yet. I noticed this little cover right here seems loose. Oh, okay. So that lifts off. And it looks like, hold on, let me get some light going here. Alright, now we got some light. It looks like just a little parallel card attached there. And it looks like there may have been like optional cards that could attach here. So that's kind of interesting. And it looks like that can just be removed. So the first two screws I found. Alright, and that lifts right off. It just attaches with a connector. And you can see where it attached, and there's a jumper right there, which I'm not sure what that's for. It's probably not marked in it. This is a laptop. Alright. Got these little doohickeys here. I'm not sure what these do either. They'll pop out of here. Oh, okay. So they're little covers that cover up the keyboard screws. Yeah, they just lift out, and you can see the keyboard screws in here now. Alright, that's a pretty thick piece of metal on the bottom here. It's a pretty heavy keyboard. That's got a bit of weight to it. Alright, so you can see hard drives right here. There's a ribbon cable coming over here for the floppy drive. I just want to very gently lift these connectors up. Alright, so we got that cable out of the way. And there's a little Seagate drive, model ST9145AG. Let's take a peek at the bottom. Let's see if there's anything hiding under these little rubber feet. Yep. There's where other screws are hiding out. Alright, let's get these last four screws out of the bottom. I don't think there's any more. Something holding us up right here. Ah, I see what it is too. Alright, if you look right where this door's at, if you close this door, it reveals a little screw right there. That's why you never just start pulling these things apart, because you never know. Alright. So now, see if you guys can see in here, we got the cables coming from the display here, and they're like held down with this tape. Alright, so now, let's see, 1, 2, 3 cables total. Alright, these are going to be a little tricky. Alright, so we got the ground taken off. Now I just got to pop this connector out carefully. Alright, that's got some fragile little pins in there. Alright, so there's one connector. There's one more down here. And we got one more connector right here. That one's like down in there. Alright, so all our screen connectors are now disconnected. So that means we can take the whole palm rest and screen and just set it aside. This is the power supply right here, because it's got the battery attaches to it, and then if you follow this cable here to the bigger connector, it looks like it runs behind some shielding here, over here to where the DC jack plugs in. So yeah, this right here would be the power supply. Yeah, let me just try to get everything unplugged that I can. Alright, so check it out. That's the power supply in this laptop. We got left, I think, just this little connector right here. Well, LED board and PS2 port. Alright, so everything's been disconnected from here. I think we just pull some screws out and get this motherboard right out of here. Alright, that's why I always take my time looking these over. Right here, you see there's that standoff right there, that's got to come out. Alright, looks like 2 more standoffs here are going to have to come out. Now with the standoffs out of the way, motherboard comes right out. Get that old tape out of there. Here's the battery we got to replace. It looks like it's got like 3 little batteries there, but they're not leaking or anything, they're just dead. There we go. There you can see here's our RAM. That's our video chip right there, I believe, which is actually bigger than the Cyrix 486 CPU, which is right there. So there you go. That's what it looks like. It's obviously a non-replaceable CPU. Cyrix CX486 SLC. And the thermal grease that's on there still seems good, so that's pretty surprising. But anyways, when I get cleaned up, we'll put a little fresh goop on there, and we'll go through and see what we can do about this little battery here. So I just desoldered the battery, say from the motherboard there. They were just through pins that went through on the back here. I just got to figure out exactly what these are. I'm pretty sure I know what they are, but we'll just dissect this a little bit and make sure. Okay, so before everything gets buttoned up, let's take a closer look at all the different parts here. Here on the motherboard, you can see the jumper extension wires that I soldered for the new battery, all the ribbon cable connectors and BIOS stickers. And over here is what I think is the BIOS chip next to the coprocessor socket, along with the connectors for whatever expansion was available for that port at the time. On the back side, you can see the heatsink for the CPU that covers the RAM and a video chip also. And interestingly, a couple of Oak Technology chips make up the chipset. If you look up the chip numbers, they were actually 386 chipsets, so that's not really surprising for a 486 SLC. And there's a few other controller chips for whatever things and stuff are on this notebook. The case bottom is pretty much empty. There's nothing really remarkable here. And here we get a better view of the hard drive. It's a Seagate 9145AG. It's a 122 megabyte 2.5 inch IDE drive that seems to function perfectly. Here you can see how populated the bottom of it is. It's like looking down on a city. And there's one of those pain in the ass connectors for these old 2.5 inch IDE drives. And with the screen bezel removed, you can see the video cable and the video controller board attached to the LCD on the left side here. And if we go over to the right side, you can see the CCFL backlight and the inverter board that powers it. And that's pretty much the tour. I did get a battery ordered for this, and the battery came in, and I know it says lithium ion on here, and it's not what I ordered, so I really hope this isn't a lithium ion. It's supposed to be a Varta replacement battery. The only problem is the battery that was in here was mounted vertically. This is of course horizontal. If I can get it open here. Wait a second. I'll just rip it. This one is horizontal, like you would see on your standard AT motherboards and stuff. But yep, this is what we're going to use. This is why I have extender wires installed on there. So it just has to be replaced again. You can see it's not a lithium ion. Is that focused on there? I don't even know. There we go. You can tell it's not a lithium ion. But yeah, what we're going to do is solder this to lead wires and then shrink wrap the whole thing, and that way it'll be easier. If it ever, in the future starts to corrode, it won't be sitting right on the motherboard, which we got lucky on this one. The battery, after I dissected the old battery, you can see there was some corrosion in between the cells starting, but it hadn't leaked out yet, so that was good. And also this will be easy to replace, just snipped wires and solder a new one on. So yeah, we'll be good to go now. Alright, so I had to do a change of plans here because the battery, I thought, you know, being a horizontal battery wouldn't even be as tall as the original battery, being that the original battery was vertical, but it was. So you see we had to extend our wires. We just ran some extension wires up through here without having to drill any holes or anything, and got it right into this expansion bay right here. The only thing that's in here is this serial card that goes in here, and that only covers up like that much. If you ever want to add your math processor, there's the slot is underneath that. The other thing that, you know, the other accessory that I know went in here, I'm not sure how many others went in here, but I know there was a trackball accessory that went in there. So this will probably never be used. Those accessories probably never be found. I'm not sure if video accessory went in here or not. I have no idea. But yeah, that fits in there perfectly. So now we have that out of the way. It's easily replaceable if it needs to be replaced. Everything is soldered to the battery, shrink wrapped, and the battery assembly itself is shrink wrapped. So yeah, I think that'll take care of that. So now we just got to go get this back together and see if it'll keep the time, and try and get something loaded on here. Alright, got it all back together. I found a serial port mouse, and I even found something I can use as a mouse pad. And I even got a VGA hooked up to it. So we'll see what happens when I turn on here. Let's go ahead and fire it up and see if it's going to load anything. It did say Windows was installed on there, so. And you see we got the old LCD screen. We got the white background with the black lettering on it. But we can see much better here if we focus on the CRT. Alright, so let's see if we get into Windows. There we go, Windows 3.1. Alright, and there we go. Mouse works. Okay, well, I guess mouse doesn't work. Okay, so we get around with the keyboard on here. Alright, here we are on C drive. Let me just take a quick look at whatever the heck is on here. Alright. That's kind of cool. Alright, let's see if we get out of that. Alright, control panel. Sweet. VersaPoint mouse. I don't think that's the mouse I got here at all. No, this is a Microsoft. Hey, there's a switch on the bottom. I wonder what the switch does. Oh. I don't think I like what that switch did at all. This is Microsoft or mouse system. I switched it to mouse system and it went wonky. Still seems to be wonky. Alright, well, piss on that mouse then. Alright guys, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video here. And in the next video, I'm going to go through, I'm going to get DOS 6.2 installed on it, Windows 3.1, and even Doom. I mean, I just installed DOS on it quick in Doom, but we'll go through, we'll get all that installed and check it out in the next video. So, you guys stay warm. We'll see you on the next one.